We are all intuitive storytellers, but we really need to be intentional storytellers using frameworks that we know that work in order to have the impact we want to make in the world.
We are afraid to niche down and to get really specific with the type of client that we serve. But if you listen to what Park just walked us through, it's very, very clear who we're trying to help.
You are not the center of your story, your audience is. Place them at the center of the story and communicate your stories from their point of view. So you invite them in, show them what's in it for them, and then you can bring out all your features and functions.
On episode 488 of the podcast, we talk about why your story isn't about what you make, but what you make happen in people's lives. Oh, it's so good. Also, how to ditch the pitch and prove you're worth using the and, but, therefore framework. This is really good too. And then the pronoun shift that instantly transforms your homepage from egocentric to magnetic. Let's go. What is up, my friend? Welcome to the Grow Your Video Business Show. My name is Ryan Coral. I am your fabulous host and so glad that you're here. I had the unique privilege of being on a workshop today with a bunch of creatives, filmmakers, photographers, composers, creatives. It was really, really cool. And they asked really good questions and they actually thought I sounded smart. It was really good. Somebody said something to the effect of, they didn't actually say this, but like that was mind blowing. Okay. They didn't say mind blowing, but they said, wow, that was really good. Anyway, that was really fun. Man, my heartbeat, I love this work. I love being able to talk to you, come alongside you and say like, man, I'm old and I've been around the block. I've seen a lot of things that have worked. I've seen things that haven't worked. I've done a lot of things that haven't worked. I was interviewed separately by this 18-year-old kid today who he is, man, what a stud. His name is Koi. So that's cool. But oh my gosh, talk about being focused and driven and all the things. That's this guy. So anyway, we had a really good conversation. He asked me really good questions, and I kind of forgot what I was going to say. But one of the questions he asked is like, what was one of the worst interview when somebody was looking to apply here? Worst interview situations that you've ever been in? And I said, oh my gosh, this one time we had this guy, we were interviewing for a project manager position. He came in, he was in our conference room. Lindsay, who worked for me at the time, I'm sitting across from him. And I think she asked the question. She said, after we shook hands and introduced ourselves, we like sit down and like, all right, so tell us about yourself. And he sat there. If you're not watching this, you're missing out, because he sat there like, he was like this. He was like, He's kind of like looking around and he's like, oh man, that's a good one. Wow. I forget what he cobbled together. It was not much. And we are all just like, okay, let's not spend a lot of time on this interview. Anyway, my hope in this work is to help you. If I can help you from my experience, that's what I want to be able to do. So thank you for being here. I have something fun to share with you. One of the things, there's a lot of people that have come into my world because of the way that I've thought about or taught them about how we budget for profit for our projects. And we have a digital product course and training called the Budget Maximizer. And there's some exciting stuff happening. We're actually launching an app related to the Budget Maximizer. So that's fun, but that's not what I'm talking about here right now, although I am talking about it. I have an assessment that will help you understand if you're leaving money on the table with any of your projects. My guess is you are somewhere, somehow, even if you're doing a really good job in your budgeting and estimating. But here's where I want to recommend going to take this assessment. Go to growyourvideobusiness.com/quiz, and it will take you to the assessment. Just a few questions. It takes less than 2 minutes. And I I'm not going to guarantee this, but I'm betting that you're going to discover something that like you should be charging for that you're not. I'm going to help you find some money here. So it's a totally free assessment. It's my gift to you for being a listener of the show. So thanks for being here again. growyourvideobusiness.com/quiz. You can do that budget assessment there, and good luck to you. I hope you win the assessment. Just kidding. Can you win it? I don't think so. You can't. Okay, let's get into today's episode. Appreciate you being here. Let's roll. This is a lot of good stuff here. So here we go. Okay, bye. What's up, my friend? Welcome to another episode of the show. Today with me is Park Howell, who is known as the world's most industrious storyteller, having grown purpose-driven brands by as much as 600%. No big deal. He is an Emmy award-winning 40-plus year veteran of the advertising industry and now consults, teaches, coaches, and speaks internationally to help business, sales, and marketing leaders excel through the stories they tell. Park, super excited to have you on the show today.
Well, Ryan, thanks for having me, and I couldn't have said that better myself.
I see what you did there. That's good. So you're in good company, man. I know so many people. When I started this podcast forever ago, my heartbeat in the work of video production has always been storytelling, documentary storytelling. Showing people how the sausage is made is way more relatable than getting a CEO on camera. Hey, read the prompter. Just do the thing. Like, be our robot so that we can sell the widgets and do the things. But when you get perfect example is the McDonald's CEO who took the teeny bite out of the burger, a few weeks ago. I've watched a couple of interviews with him since then, and I'm like, I like this guy. He's talking about how his kids are poking fun at him a little bit about this whole situation, but that is endearing. I am leaning in. He could have been the Delta CEO who hops on, before every flight, and here at Delta we do the thing. It's that's a neat commercial, but it does not touch my heart at all and get me caring more about the brand. So anyway, any response, any thoughts as you think about why you care about story in the way that you do?
Gosh, I think it goes back from when I was a little kid, Ryan, and my parents kept saying, "Park, stop telling stories." I don't think they were believing me in my stories. And I just always laughed at that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? And they know the power of story to be able to state your case, claim your position in a Howell household of 7 kids,
Gosh.
And it's not something I had thought about for a long time, other than I knew that I wanted to be in the advertising industry from a very early age because of the Rainier beer commercials up in Seattle, which were always hysterical and brilliant crazy and whatever. And then I studied communication so I could get into the advertising world, but I also am a musician. I studied music composition and theory.
Oh, wow.
And knowing that I would never, make it as a composer, I figured, but what I'm going to learn there is going to help me be better at advertising.
Yeah.
I was never thinking story at the time, because to me, it was always a given.
Yeah.
We're just all intuitive storytellers, and the best commercials we see out there are somehow sharing a human insight through story. And so it was many years of my career and running my ad agency till I started really studying story. And the reason why is we had a campaign we had launched for our client Goodwill of Central Arizona back in 2003. We had one 30-second ad that pulled extraordinarily well. I mean, same store sales went up 42% the next month. And then we had another one, a part of the campaign, that didn't work at all. And I looked at it, and I loved them both as my own children.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I said, why did this one work and this one did not? So I just kind of put that as a conundrum behind me, and I went and started studying story. And once I really learned the mechanics and the structures of story, I went back to that and go, oh, this one was a natural story. It was intuitively written as a story, and it pulled phenomenally. This other one was just a creative masturbation project. We just loved what we were doing, and we put it out there. We just knew the world was going to love it. and they didn't. And that's when I realized we are all intuitive storytellers, but we really need to be intentional storytellers using frameworks that we know that work in order to have the impact we want to make in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. When you think about the businesses that you've worked with, what would you say for most where they just miss it? Like going into a meeting. I'm just picturing this one client that we've had where we show up, we're going to sit around this big conference room table, and they hand out this agenda for the project, and it's really just like, it's like a capabilities piece. Here's who we are, here's what we do, here's who we help, blah blah blah. And I'm thinking they hired us to lead them through this workshop where we're going to like unpack the story and really, understand it. And then when we said, hey, here's the difference between what you're suggesting versus like what we're going to recommend based on the results that you want to get. And there's no story in what you're sharing here. Like you just want to share some, facts and some features and whatever. So is there anything that you see consistently with a lot of clients that maybe they think, hey, here, this is our story. And it's like, no, you got this all wrong.
Yeah. And it really comes down to, we got to get them out of logic and reason world into the world of emotion, because our brains are story processors, not logic processors.
Yeah.
We have logic to support a story, but you have to first connect with them, as you know, through the actual story, the human context of what they're trying to talk about. So sure, they show up and they've got their features list and their functions list, and they throw in a little bit of benefit just kind of sprinkled on, but it's not focused on that at all. And one of the two story truths that I try to communicate to them is, number one, your story is not about what you make, but what you make happen in people's lives. They actually don't care about your widgets. They don't care about your brand. They don't care about your initiative or your product. They don't care about your SaaS. They only care about what it does to make their life better.
Yeah.
And then the other story truth is, you are not the center of your story. Your audience is. Place them at the center of the story and communicate your stories from their point of view. So you invite them in, show them what's in it for them, and then you could bring out all your features and functions to support that emotional connection you've made by speaking to that problem-solving, pattern-seeking, decision-making limbic emotional brain first.
Man, that's so good. I think when I look back at 20 plus years of running my own agency, there are a handful of books or sound bites or theories that I clanged.
Yeah.
And Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey, I think was introduced to me the first time inside of Donald Miller's Story Brand book. And that was really the first time that I was like, oh, wait, I'm not the hero of the story.
Yeah.
And everything that I've been doing, that's how I've been trying to win people over. And looking at my website and our copy and the videos that we were making to promote ourselves, I'm like, oh my gosh, just share a little bit more, because certainly, not everybody is on the same page of like even knowing what does that even mean? What does it mean to be the hero of the story or to have our clients be the hero of the story?
Well, and I learned that first way back in the early 2000s. Our son was going to film school at Chapman University in Orange, California, a very prominent film school. And I said, send me your books and your recorded lectures when you're done with them, since I'm paying for them, because I wanted to know, what did Hollywood know about storytelling that we could use in the sales and marketing world. Saw the hero's journey. And I saw that and I said, well, why don't they teach this in the sales and marketing, branding, video production, film production world? They do film, obviously, in Hollywood, but in our business world.
Right.
And so I took it and I created my 10-step story cycle system back in 2006. And I always knew then that the hero was always your audience. It wasn't about you. Even the great writers in Hollywood are writing for an audience, to get them to buy that ticket, to sit in the crowd, to feel like this story is about them.
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge rude awakening in the sales and marketing world, because if we're just pounding our chests and talking about how wonderful egocentrically our brand is showing up, nobody cares. Say, dude, what's in it for me? And that was my major shift long before StoryBrand came around. And in fact, StoryBrand launched in 2014, and he came out with his book after that. We were already doing the story cycle system back in 2006.
Love that.
So it's always been a rule of thumb for me. You are not the hero of your story. Your audience is.
So let's just use you as an example here. If you're going to pitch your services to me, you could say, hey, I'm Park. I've been doing this work since the early 2000s. We invented this system. We have this thing. Like you should consider working with me, right? Like that's not the way. Like, so lay that out. Give the audience here just a sample of like, what does this actually mean? Like in the work that I'm doing?
We've already made one switch here, hopefully in your audience minds. You are not the center of the story. Your audience is. I call that the pronoun shift from me to you.
Yeah, that's good.
You, the audience. The next shift is stop pitching and start proving your worth. And the way you do that is make that same shift. Don't just show up. Let me pitch you on my capabilities. Let me prove my abilities and how it can impact you. We use this little story framework for strategy and for actual narrative creation called the and, but, therefore, or the ABT narrative framework. Enormously powerful. Something I wish I knew about in the third grade. I learned from my good friend, Dr. Randy Olson, who is a Harvard PhD evolutionary biologist, USC Film School grad, and he helps consult climate change folks, scientists, academics, medical, big thinking people. And in his second book, Connection, came out in 2013, I read it and I saw this and but therefore it had the same impact on me that the story site or that the hero's journey had for brand building through our story cycle genie, that the ABT did, that I started calling it the DNA of story, because you see it everywhere. Here's how it works. So if you're going into a quote unquote pitch, instead of pitch, I want to prove my abilities. I'm going to do some research on you. And let's just do a quick example for your show here, Ryan. All right. So I'm going to pitch you my services for your show, but I'm actually going to prove that I'm the right person for you. So we're going to use the ABT. Tell me, who is the number one audience for your show? This show right here. Describe your number one audience.
Solopreneur, male, probably 40 something years old, trying to be more profitable in his video production business, trying to get more clients, and doesn't have time, is doing all the things, everything's on fire. That's probably pretty accurate. I think I'm just describing myself. Just kidding.
So we're going to identify who they are. That solo video marketing or a video entrepreneur, and it could be a male or female. For me, it doesn't really matter, for you, but I'm like, okay. And what they want to have a more profitable, productive, impactful business. And why is that important to them?
They want the freedom that comes with running a business. They love to be able to create, and for that to be their job. They've never had a job like that where they could make something and people will appreciate it and love it, and they get paid to do that. And I think there's a belief that there's a potential to make like pretty good money in this work.
Excellent. So what is the problem they're having that is attracting them to your show?
Ooh, my good looks, sense of humor, just charming.
Well, we got the sense of humor down, definitely.
This guy jokes about everything. I would say, title of the show is Grow Your Video Business. I have a program called 10X Filmmaker, and there's this desire to be more to generate more money, but there's a lot of like fulfillment that can come from having a good system set up in your business, like time freedom and personal, like what do you want to do in your personal life? You want to nurture a family and like let that. So instead of like just making more money or thinking that that's the thing that we're after here, it's like, no, there's a lot more. And it's not just like, let's hire more employees and do more and more revenue every year. There's a lot more to it than that. So I would say like, people stick around here because of my honesty, vulnerability. I've been doing this for a long time, so they see me as somebody that they can trust. I really don't hold back in some of the, the war stories that I've experienced and the times I've fallen on my face in running a business. And I have great guests, really smart people that have proven, how to run a business or do different things in a business to be smarter, more efficient, save more money, make more money, etc.
Okay. So that's great. That's all the background. Now let's go back to the question I asked. We're going to use everything you just told me, but
to be able to experience more freedom in the work, because I don't think people are going to listen to this show at the beginning of their journey. They're going to start really leaning in when they're like, I'm doing way too many things. I don't have time to focus on the business. How has Ryan done this? He's been in this work for so long. How has he found time to be able to do sales and marketing and these other things, plus shoot and edit and learn the gear and all that stuff? So is that a good?
Yeah, so that's great. So the single one-word theme for this ad, but therefore statement might be freedom.
Freedom, yeah.
It's all about freedom. You want freedom, but you don't currently have freedom. Therefore, listen to the show, and I'm going to show you how to get freedom. I mean, as basic and vacuous as that is, that's where you first start setting it up. Shared statement of agreement and statement of agreement. You want freedom. You are a solo. You are a committed solo video entrepreneur, and you want to grow a vibrant video production company. If you can get all of the mechanics and operation going in the same direction, then you will have not only the freedom, but the income you desire. That's your statement of agreement. Going, yeah, man, you understand me. You appreciate what I want, why that's important to me. Right on. Now let's throw the problem at them. But you're super frustrated, maybe even exhausted because you don't have the systems in place that are now, and because of that, are robbing you of that free time, that energy you need, and maybe that money that you really want, to be able to fund your life. Therefore, now that was our statement of contradiction. It triggers the limbic buying survival brain. Like, yeah, man, you understand me. You know what I want. You empathize with why I don't currently have it. Therefore, you've built trust. Here's the way forward. Therefore, imagine in 6 months, starting to see the gleam of that freedom that you've so desired and want to build on by listening to Grow Your Video Business, where I share experts from around the world and even what you call my 10X filmmaking process, sharing you the highs and lows of my own career so you won't make the same mistakes and will be able to achieve the freedom faster. I come to you every week, sign up today. So that would be the overall arc of your brand story for this particular show. Identified who your audience is, put them at the center of the story. Mm-hmm. You then show them what do they want and why is that important to them. So you appreciate what they want, why they're important to them. And then you empathize with why they don't currently have it. Therefore, imagine when you get it by listening to my show. So it's all about them. And then your show, your call to action doesn't come in until the second clause of the therefore statement to keep it focused about them. You get that dialed in. You could tell that story in under 15 seconds.
Right.
And then start backing it up with the support materials and the logic and the reason and that kind of thing. And for any video production company out there, if you are writing scripts or like you were saying, Ryan, when you sat down with the customer and they give you this big, long list of features and functions, you say there's no story here. Use the ABT as a strategy tool. Said, okay, everybody, let's pump the brakes, take a deep breath. Number one, just like I did with you, who is our number one audience here? What do they want relative to what we are going to offer them? They may not even know what our offering is, but you're foreshadowing it in the background. They don't realize it. What do they want? And then raise the stakes. And why is that important to you? Then, but why don't they have it? So start with a negative emotion after the but you're frustrated, you're annoyed, you're anxious, you're scared, you're fearful, you're whatever, because of this conjunction word is very powerful to communicate the cause and effect, because of this problem that you need solving that, oh, by the way, we're in the right position to solve that for you. Therefore, imagine what it's going to be like when you get it by doing this with us. Does that make sense? That's the power of the and, but, therefore.
That's killer. I love that. What it made me, my show is very specific to people running video production companies. I could narrow that even further if I wanted to. I said male in their 40s. Obviously, this show is for a lot more. I love, actually, the more females that listen to this, the better that are on the show, the better. That's just like a very underserved area in our world. The challenge that I've seen after coaching so many filmmakers is we are afraid to niche down and to get really specific with the type of client that we serve. But if you listen to what Park just walked us through, that if I took that and made that copy on the Grow Your Video Business page for the show or the intro of the show or whatever, it's very, very clear who we're trying to help, what problem. So it's like, people that are listening to this, they're like nodding their head. They're like, yeah, no, that, okay. Yep. You're speaking to me. Now, if you are trying to appeal to everybody on the homepage of your website, we do video marketing or video services, contact us today to tell your story. None of that hits. None of that resonates. That doesn't stir any excitement or get people leaning in. It's just like, okay, it's just more marketing speak that I've heard everybody else say. So I'll just say it one more time. I know you're tired of hearing this. The more you can niche down, because just think if you could talk about one specific type of client and then put that copy on your main page or a landing page, it is going to resonate and get those people saying like, yeah, that's my problem. You know me, let's talk, versus trying to pitch yourself like we can do it. Okay, I rant over, but I really appreciate that perspective.
Well, here's an exercise they can all do right now, and that is to go to their landing page or their homepage and read it. And if you've made it all about you and not about your audience, rewrite it. And here's how you can do that. Copy and paste that landing page into ChatGPT. The prompt is this: using Park Howell's ABT narrative framework, rewrite this landing page. And then boom, it may then ask you some questions. Well, who exactly is your audience, or what should you do, or whatever. So that's a real quick way to do it. But you are going to feel the fundamental shift from just sounding like a chest pounding, egocentric brand blowhard that most brands feel like, to actually a brand that cares about their audience.
There's the in-between too. There's the, hey, I'm, beating my chest, like, here's everything we do, versus like, oh no, here's who we serve, how we help, whatever. But then there's most of us that are in the middle that don't want to take, we don't want to go too far on either side. So we don't really say much. Visual storytelling, video storytelling, like, where it's just like, okay, like what are you? What aren't you? Anyway.
You know who the number one fast food restaurant is in the country?
I'll say Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, no, they're right up there. In-N-Out Burger.
Okay.
And all they sell is burgers. They don't sell anything else but burgers. McDonald's trying to sell everything. They're all over the place. Chick-fil-A is really good at it too. They sell just chicken now. I don't eat there much. They might have some other stuff. But that was a real eye-opener for me, that when you niche down to be that very specific supplier for a very specific audience, you're going to get other business outside of that niche, but it becomes like a tractor beam that sucks them into, not the Death Star in your case, they're coming into the Life Star. But the ABT makes you focus on that number one audience. And so for you, Ryan, you could use the ABT with every single guest that you have on, and you could do an ABT about that show. And you say, so, for all of you wonderful video entrepreneurs out there that are trying to find more freedom in your life, and you're actually considering how AI might have an impact with your future scripting or video production, but you're a little bit trepidatious about what that really means for your business. Well, guess what? Today, we have an expert in AI filmmaking is here to answer that very question. So you've identified your number one audience, and then for that particular show, the number one problem solution dynamic that you will be solving for your audience that day. And our limbic brain loves that stuff because it's simple. It can focus. It's like, solve that for me.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Park, we're running out of time, but I don't know if we talk artful intelligence, story cycle genie. Give us a tease, and then I'm gonna have to let people know all the places where they can find you, and
all right,
maybe we'll have to do another episode another time.
Well, I've been in the brand story development business for over 2 decades. I have a career of 4 decades of doing it, but really with story and our story cycle system, and we took my IP and created an AI-driven product called the Story Cycle Genie. And instead of taking months to really dial in a brand story, you can literally do it in about an hour or 2 following our proprietary process. And in fact, Ryan, I ran your brand through it. It gave me a brand assessment just by looking at your website in about 2 minutes. And then about 4 minutes later, it ran your entire brand narrative strategy. And that's important for anyone listening or watching, whatever, that you could really dial in your brand story, who you're for, what are the emotional triggers that you'll be communicating against, leveraging to help them bring them into your world, and it'll take you through our 10-step story cycle system. Right now, you can go and test the strength of your brand story for free. Just go to storycyclegenie.ai. There's a little red button there. Put in your name, email address, and a URL, and within 60 seconds, it's going to give you a complete brand report, give you a grade from A+ to F-, and a 14-point storytelling assessment. So check that out. That's the big thing I'm pushing this day and age, because we just have taken all of our analog storytelling expertise and used the latest and greatest artificial intelligence, but we're making it artful, because artificial intelligence is the worst brand name ever. If you really know how to use it and collaborate with it from your own marketing smarts, it becomes artful intelligence that actually augments your intelligence. So that's what I do.
That's amazing. Park, this has been awesome. So we've got storycyclegenie.ai. Anywhere else you want to point people?
I've got a podcast, The Business of Story, that I roll out every Monday. Been doing it for almost 11 years with story artists from around the world to help teach you about story in every aspect of business and personal and professional endeavors. And then, if you want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, Park Howell, and let me know there that you heard me on Ryan's show. And would love to connect with you there, or you can go through businessofstory.com. But love to help you.
Awesome, man. I love your journey. This is really good, really good. You whet our appetite. I'm so sad that we have to be done, but appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. Also, congrats on just the giftedness that you have to be able to articulate story in the way that you do. I know it's helping a lot of businesses. I'm sitting here taking notes. I'm inspired. I'm excited to unpack the assessment that you did for us. So thank you for that, and I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Grow Your Video Business podcast. If you got something out of today's conversation, do me a favor, share it with a friend or post it on your socials. Tag me at Ryan Coral or at Grow Your Video Business. I'd love to know what resonated with you. If you've got a question or takeaway, drop a comment wherever you're listening or watching this. You can also shoot me a message. I read every single one. And hey, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. We've got more stories, strategies, and behind the scenes insights coming your way to help you build a business that you love. Keep creating, keep sharing your story, and keep showing up. I'm cheering you on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next time.